Okay, so this whole thing began maybe 2 months ago. At my aunt's party, my sister comes up to me and says that she thinks someone has been coming into her house in the middle of the night. My sister has always been easily scared, so at first I was skeptical. I asked her how she knew someone had been in her house, whether she had actually seen anyone, etc. She told me she hadn't seen anyone, but she said she knows for a fact someone was in her house. She then went on to explain that she has a skybox downstairs that streams to her bedroom television. The first time it happened, she said she heard the TV was being used, so she turned on her TV and someone was flicking through the channels. I still didn't really buy what she was saying, but she did seem genuinely afraid. She claimed it had been going on for 3 months on and off. To put her mind at ease, I told her I'd stay at her place for a few nights and wait to see if the guy comes. I took my younger brother along just to be safe. In all, we stayed at her place for 4 nights. In those 4 nights, nothing unusual happened. Me and my brother were convinced she was going crazy. Me and my brother decided we had stayed long enough and told her that we had to go home. She got extremely upset about this. I reassured her and told her to call the police the next time it happened. She had called the police once before about the guy and they turned up to find no one was in the house. I said she could call me anytime she wanted and I left for work. 2 days later she called me at 11:30 p.m. and claimed he was downstairs in her house right now. I asked her how she knew and she said he's walking around the house. She was whispering and crying. I knew she wasn't making this up. I could tell from her voice. I called my brother and I told him to meet me at her house. I was on the phone with her the entire drive over to her place. I live 10 minutes away. When I got there, my brother was parked up outside. We both went to the back of the house. I was still on the phone with my sister. The first floor of the house was lit solely by the TV in the living room. As we approached the patio door, we saw that a man was sitting on the couch facing us. We were frozen solid and my sister noticed that we went quiet and started asking what was wrong and if we could see him. I told her to stay quiet and that we had it in hand. I then hung up and called the police to explain the situation. The guy hadn't moved from the couch at all. The TV turned off while we were waiting for the cops. Me and my brother majorly freaked out when it happened. We couldn't see anything downstairs, then the hallway light turned on, meaning someone was on the stairs. We opened the patio door and ran up the stairs and caught the guy with his ear to her door. We kicked the shit out of him and got my sister out of the house. He had a knife in his coat pocket. The cops came maybe 10 minutes later. He could have killed her if he wanted to. It was fucking outrageous. It turns out the guy was one of our mum's old boyfriends who had lived with us for a while in the 90s. He had always been fond of my sister, but we had never suspected it to be him. He hadn't contacted any of us for nearly a decade. My sister has moved back in with my mum and is undergoing therapy to get over what had happened. Our stepdad, as he liked to call himself, was given 3 years in prison. We are doing our best to cut all ties with the man.